Marcus Smith's genius makes some people almost unbelievable. On a golden autumnal afternoon in Worcester, I strolled past George Ford in the wake of his wonderfully controlled and executed performance for Leicester Tigers against the Warriors. Time for small talk and a little flattery on my part, a smile from George and a reminder. It won't be as easy against South Africa in the driving rain. His words were rueful. Left out of the England squad, we both knew the reference was aimed in the direction of Marcus Smith. Ford has too much class, is too polite, to spell it out. He left me to pluck the meaning from the warm Worcestershire evening. Ford has been fantastic this season. He remains on the front foot, but even so, it is difficult to knock an aspect of his game. And yes, there are a great number of English fans who regard him as head and shoulders above the 22-year-old Harlequins player. The word flash keeps cropping up in association with Smith, while Ford delves deep into his experience to try to ensure Leicester keep a healthy lead at the top of the table. Smith is at the fledgling stage of his international career. His reputation is for acts of devilish brilliance. Game management is mentioned, again and again, as Ford's forte, while Smith is left with his artillery of tricks, threatening a paradise lost. Well, as we head towards the Six Nations, today feels the ideal time to address the questions coming Smith's way. The rain didn't pour down when England played South Africa, but Smith, with a reorganized midfield to deal with early in the match and a pack in retreat as the game evolved, quietly went about helping to carve up the best international defense in the world. He didn't dazzle, but he was damned effective. He answered the question indirectly aimed towards him. He knows how to control quietly. In recent weeks, he has not been near his best, but what fly half ever performs at their peak, week after week? Maybe at the moment, but he didn't manage this degree of consistent control wearing the red rose. On Saturday at the Stoop, in the 2021 Premiership final rematch between Harlequins and Exeter Chiefs, Smith kicked when and where he should. Perhaps it wasn't as devastating as Ford and those spiral bombs, but he did nothing stupid to make you shudder and think. Scotland in the rain. Quite the opposite. He chose his options wisely and was prominent in the opening spell when Harlequins hammered away at Exeter's line. The Chiefs produced by far their best performance of the season in the middle of the game, but there was nothing flaky about Smith, whose capacity to come up with the extraordinary offends a certain English attitude to the exceptional. He will not be trusted in some quarters until he emulates Jonny Wilkinson and lifts the World Cup. Hey, race a prediction. If England are to emulate the 2003 team next year, Smith will be running the show. He did what he had to do against South Africa. He is, undoubtedly, what is tiresomely described as a test match animal. Nothing phases him. All he lacks is a little more experience and the occasional awkward afternoon from which lessons are learned. On Saturday, he operated within the confines of what was possible on a sodden field in the falling rain. Exeter took the lead in the game by the scruff. Joe Simmons, Smith's opposite number, had a fine game, positionally adroit, tactically astute, but Smith has the quality only the very few possess. Watching the game, I wasn't hoping for Smith to produce a match-changing moment with 5 minutes left. I was expecting it. What we saw were a few acts of genius to rip the contest from Exeter. With Harlequins 5 points behind, the ball found its way into his hands in his own half. He stepped inside the chase of his opposite number and accelerated into space with a gear change of which players such as Ford can only dream. He checked, changed pace and sent a pass into the arms of Joe Marchant. Quins advanced into Exeter's half at pace. When the ball reached Smith after the next breakdown, the flow of play left to right, he cross-kicked in the direction of Louis Lynagh. The wing's frustration at not handling the kick on a kind first bounce emphasized the size of the opportunity Smith created with his run-slash-pass-slash-kick game. But there was still time to come again. This time right to left, the perfect kick straight into the arms of Andre Esterwijzen, waiting out wide to slide through the wet grass to level the game. Smith, with a killer's cold heart, broke Exeter's as the touchline conversion gave the champions the game with the help of the upright. Once again, when the heat was turned to maximum, Smith produced a pressure kick of which Wilkinson, Owen Farrell or Ford would have been proud. This capacity to kick goals that matter is the indispensable art of the cold-blooded, organized fly half.